We have a great change here. You're not going to believe it. What's so nice is this is extremely flexible. Two ways to run it, both do very well. First is close quarters run and gun, and the second is far away and safe. I've always liked Lucky Raspberry, and at one time it was used quite a bit in Destiny, but over the years, the appeal kind of fell off, so they reworked it. This rework brings a lot of life into it. However, I believe it does have a bug. The function changes a little bit. I hope it gets fixed soon. It should be, but I wouldn't worry about it. I hope you stay with me on this video. I have a lot to go through with build, fragments, mods, pairings, all of it. And also for me, the Crota weapons, it's going to take a little bit. I need some rules, but the Crota weapons are going to come up with this exotic. They're perfect for this exotic. It's a whole vibe, and you'll see. And how I recommend you use Lucky Raspberry, I use it in the raid up until the final room. I then switch to Star Eaters, but in activities where you don't need that big burst damage on a boss like Star Eaters, things like that, these are great up to it in any activity. So no one's saying you have to use these all the time. You shouldn't. You can switch off of them. These are just free. You'll see. I was getting double the kills on my fire team the majority of the time because the Lucky Raspberry train never stops. The Probability Matrix increases the chaining capabilities of Arc Bolt Grenade. Damaging enemies with Jolt Lightning Strikes and collecting Ionic Traces both grant additional Arc Bolt Grenade energy, and then Arc Bolts stun overloads and delay their health regeneration. There's a lot to unpack here. Various ways to get this thing going, but let's start with that last part. Arc Bolts stunning overloads, the delay of health regen. Here's the bug. Base Arc Bolts don't seem to stun overloads, but don't let this shy you away from it at all. I assume it's going to get fixed, and it doesn't really matter. It's just going to get even better when it's fixed. I tried various ways. It did not work. It does work with a fragment where your arc grenades jolt, but that's always worked. Jolt stuns overloads. So that means the second part of the perk is bugged as well. I couldn't see any tangible delay in health regeneration on overloads. Tried it with arc jolt, melee arc jolt, overload on the artifact. In this case, hand cannon, zero adjustment to the delay. So on top of the arc bolt not stunning, this part of the perk doesn't seem to be working either. However, the rest of the exotic makes up for it. It works so well, again, you're not even really gonna miss this part. Let's talk about how powerful this second part is. Damaging enemies with Jolt and collecting Ionic Traces grant Arc Bolt energy. Keep in mind, right here, this is just on one target. I'm going back to that Overload champion. Nades nearly dry, dodge, do the melee Jolt, grabs a chunk, shoot the Jolt, the Arc Bolt is right back. So this is crazy ability spam and crazy orb spam. We have the run and gun way, the safe way being in harder content, but with the run and gun, class item, powerful attraction, automatically collect nearby orbs when you use your class ability. We have Reaper and Bomber. On the legs, double innervation, reduces grenade when you pick up an orb, better already. Those orbs are gonna give health. On the chest, this is to your build. I use emergency reinforcement, and as we go, you'll see why. You get extra damage resist when your shields are broken, and you can fill in with reserves or resist mods. On the arms, harmonic loader, it's going to be an arc weapon, heavy-handed, powerful melee final blows create orbs, firepower, grenade final blows create orbs. Helmet, arc, or harmonic siphon, you're going to be an arc subclass, heavy ammo finder, and heavy ammo scout. Aspects, lethal current. After dodging, your next melee jolts. This is what we want. Damaging a jolted enemy with a melee attack blinds them. Flow state, defeating a jolted target makes you amplified. While amplified, your dodge recharges quickly, you're more resilient while dodging, and you get a huge reload speed buff. We have Arc Bolt and Combination Blow. Melee damage stacking 3 times and defeating targets with this ability fully refills class ability energy and restores health. So it's the old school dodge and go Combination Blow. Fragments, we have Shock. This is so the Arc Bolt jolts. Ions, defeating a jolted target creates an Ionic Trace. Instinct, while critically wounded, taking damage emits a jolt. So that's why I pair it with emergency reinforcement. When my shields are broke, I get increased DR, I jolt everything around me. Amplitude, rapidly defeating targets while you're amplified creates an orb of power. So we have a lot of ways to create an orb of power. As far as your weapon, you can run anything arc, preferably a volt shot weapon. It makes sense. Ikelos SMG, Nation, Brigand's Law. But if not, something like Trinity Ghoul is going to work, but Volt Shot is substantial because hitting jolts gets grenade energy. And also downing jolted targets grants an Ionic Trace. All of that's giving you your grenade back. So the loop is very wild. You have the old school combination blow dodge. All of those melee final blows are creating an orb. They're also jolting. You're throwing arc bolts all the time. Those arc bolts are creating an orb. You have Reaper too, so your weapon final blows are creating an orb. When you're in the thick of it, you're automatically picking up all these orbs due to powerful attraction. That's giving even more to your grenade and health. So it's all about getting up in there, melee dodging, jolting, using the Volt Shot weapon. It's very fun. It's very strong. You could even run something like Two-Tailed Fox to jolt. There's a ton of jolt going on and a ton of orbs. Your cooldowns fly. Not to mention, built in, we have the increased arc bolt chaining that can reset. But then we get to the Crota weapons. This is cool. A perfect one is Oversoul Edict. It's got Volt Shot, because we have our loop of being hard in the paint, getting up there, meleeing orbs, arc bolts, all of that. The origin trait, after defeating an enemy with a melee attack, final blows of this weapon causes targets to explode for a short duration. And with the artifact mod, that lasts for 15 seconds. So now we have arc bolts, thrall explosions, jolts, and orbs everywhere. Oversoul's a perfect pairing for it with that origin trait. I highly recommend that you try it. I mean, with this, I went into the Legend Spire solo, and I just wanted to see the survivability and chaining. It doesn't disappoint. The whole kit of working together, getting the arc bolt back, the jolting, meleeing a target to blind them, and with this run and gun, like the Volt Shot weapon matters, but not really necessary. It's just on top. Like all the jolt from the kit and the melee and the grenade. The fragments do like a lot of the work for you, and it just makes the arc bolts flow with ease. Very fun, very impressive. Again, tons of orbs, tons of grenade energy. And within the kit, all of those orbs is essentially for a fire team. And I have it set up with heavy ammo scout and finder. You could do that for yourself. You can make it to where you have surges or fonts, whatever you want. As far as being safe and far away, it still does the same thing. You don't necessarily have to be running and gunning and meleeing. Just a Volt Shot weapon at a distance is fine because of the built-in perk. As you're jolting, you're getting grenade energy. But there are two weapons in particular that stand way out. Tarnished Metal, Enhanced Demolitionist, Enhanced Volt Shot. All of that feeds into the arc bolt. It's like near instant when you do it into a group. And the other is Oversoul Edict. It has the same role, Demolitionist, Volt Shot. So it's doing what Tarnished Metal could do, but you're throwing in that thrall trait with those melee blows when you get them. That's what I'm going for on Oversoul, to run it with Lucky Raspberry. It's so good. You still have your close quarters when you need it. You're dodging, you're meleeing, all that stuff, but Demo Volt Shot gets the engines moving from a distance even faster. And again, you can do all of this spam, all of these orbs, up until you need to do big damage. You can switch to Star Eaters with the pole. Whatever you need to do. But I am loving this thing and kind of floored by it. In the description down below, I do have the dim link just for this base setup. You can change things around as you see fit, but it's brutal. Click that link, get this base build going, see what it's all about. I think that you're really gonna like it. There's some other ones that I do want to cover, but I was intrigued by Lucky Raspberry because I have always liked it and I used it way back in the day, and this just puts it way over the top. I honestly can't wait to see what you guys come up with Lucky Raspberry. Its built-in kit works so well with just getting arc bolt energy. Adding in the Crota weapon is really good. Volt Shot, obviously really good, but I'm sure there's a ton more. The space build that I have, though, with the orbs coming in, getting more nade energy, a little bit of chunk of health, I think you'll start seeing the power. Then, of course, change what you need. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.